Hi there, this is Stories for Sleep, and I'm Thumani's here to spend a quiet evening with you. A space where nothing needs to get done, where you can let the day go gently. Right now, just lie down as comfortably as you can. Let your hands rest beside you or gently over your belly. No need to adjust anything, just be. Take a slow breath in, hold it softly, then exhale easy and quiet. One more time. Inhale deeply. Feel the air cooling your chest and exhale like you're letting the day slip away. Now bring your attention to your forehead. If you're holding tension, let it go. Let your brow soften. Move down to your shoulders. Feel them sinking into the mattress. Relax your arms, hands, and fingertips. Let them feel light, like they're floating in warm water. Notice your chest and belly gently rising and falling, like a quiet boat rocking on still water. And now, know that there's nothing more you have to do. No one needs you to respond. No one is waiting. This moment is just for you and for a story told softly to help you rest. Whenever you're ready, we'll begin. Hey guys, tonight we're diving into something a little uncomfortable. That one person you just can't stop thinking about. You know exactly who. No matter what you do, read a book, go for a walk, scroll endlessly through pasta making videos on your phone, they linger. Like a weird smell in your car after you gave your friend's dog a ride. You laugh, but it's real. They just won't leave your head. And maybe it's not even recent. Maybe it's someone from 3 summers ago, or 10 years ago, or worse, last week. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're here, drop a comment. What time is it for you right now? Where in the world are you listening from? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're lying on your side, pillow soft, breath steady. But somewhere in your chest, there's a faint buzzing, a thought, a face, a feeling, uninvited. You try to ignore it. Maybe you shift your position. Maybe you try counting your breath like sheep. But sheep don't work when your mind keeps chasing ghosts. And this one ghost, this one person, just refuses to go. It's not like you even want to think about them anymore. You've done the work, journaled, meditated, even bought that fancy lavender oil from a TikTok therapist. But they're still there. Sometimes when the room is still, sometimes when you least expect, sometimes in the middle of laughing with friends or brushing your teeth, boom. Them. Why? Why does your mind keep spinning back to this person? What unfinished business is hiding beneath the surface? What part of your heart hasn't caught up with your logic? It's almost like your brain is holding on to a thorn, not because it enjoys the pain, but because it's afraid of what's left if you pull it out. What if letting go doesn't mean healing? What if it means forgetting? And forgetting feels like betrayal. But is it? There's a Zen master who once told a story about a traveler. The man was crossing a river in a tiny wooden boat when another boat came drifting toward him. He shouted, waved, cursed, but the boat didn't stop. It bumped into his. He stood up furious until he realized there was no one in the other boat. It was empty, just drifting with the current. And the anger, it vanished. Because who do you blame when there's no one to blame? Now, what if the memory you're holding on to that person who won't leave your head, what if they too are just an empty boat? You clutch the memory so tightly, maybe because part of you still wants something, an apology, a reason, closure, validation, a redo. Or maybe you just want the version of you that existed when you were with them. But that version of you is gone, and that's okay. You've grown in ways they'll never get to see. You've wept, raged, surrendered, survived. You've learned how to breathe alone. And now, in this silence, you're learning how to let go without hating. Let's pause for a moment. Feel your body. Notice the weight of your legs, the warmth of your chest, the gentle rhythm of breath. You're here now, not back then. And every time that thought comes back, maybe you don't need to fight it. Maybe you just need to bow to it. Like a monk bows to every passing cloud. Thank you for coming. I see you, and I choose to rest. There's an old Zen saying, the lotus blooms in the mud. Maybe tonight, in the murky swirl of memory and longing, something tender is unfolding. Not because you force it, not because you fix it, but because you let it be. And sleep, like peace, begins not when everything is resolved, but when nothing needs to be. Let's keep going deeper next time, because in section 2, we'll meet a finger pointing at the moon and it's not what you think. But for now, let that thought drift like a paper lantern on water. Quietly, softly, out of reach, the thought returns. But this time you don't fight it. You just notice. You let it drift in like the tide. Not as an enemy, not as a riddle to solve, just as a visitor who forgot their coat. You observe it the way a cat watches a moth, with curiosity, without urgency, no need to pounce. And in this softness, something opens. A monk once asked his master, "Why do thoughts of my past still haunt me? Why can't I look at the moon without remembering her face?" The master didn't answer right away. He simply picked up a stick and pointed at the moon. "Do you see it?" he asked. "Yes," said the monk. "But what are you looking at, the moon or my finger?" The monk smiled, then sighed. It's always the finger, isn't it? When you think about that person, whoever they are, you're not really thinking about them. You're thinking about how they made you feel, how the world looked when they were in it, how you looked through their eyes. It's not the moon, it's the finger. The memory is just a pointer. The ache is just a signal. The longing is just a direction. And maybe you've been staring at the pointing hand for so long, you forgot to look at what it's pointing toward. So what is it? Peace, love, closure, a sense of being seen. Whatever it is, that's the moon. That's what you're really after. And the person, the story, the whole tangled knot of emotion, just the finger. You lie still in the dark. The room breathes around you. A breeze flutters the curtain. The fan hums like a distant choir. Your blanket cradles you like the softest cocoon. And that thought returns again. But now you say, I see you. Thank you for pointing. I will keep looking not at you, but through you. You feel it shift, not disappear, just soften, like ice melting in a quiet cup of tea. There's a strange relief in realizing you don't need to fix your thoughts. You don't need to stop them. You just need to stop believing they are the truth. Like someone tapping your shoulder and saying, look over there. And for years, you just kept staring at the finger, the gesture, the memory, the pain. But now, you finally turn your head, and there it is, the moon. Maybe it's the peace of being alone but not lonely. Maybe it's the freedom to love without needing to be loved back. Maybe it's the strength to be with yourself fully. The moon was always there. You just had to stop staring at the hand in front of your face. Let's pause again. Feel that gentle space between inhale and exhale. A small pause, a hidden door. And behind it, nothing and everything. You've looked at the moon 1,000 times before. But maybe tonight, for the first time, you're actually seeing it. Sleep begins in the turning away from the grasping, turning toward the truth that needs no words. The thought will return. Of course it will. It's just doing its job. But now you know. You don't have to stare at the finger anymore. You can smile and look up. In section 3, we'll meet a strange question. Who's really holding the rope tied around your thoughts? But for now, drift in the moonlight. Feel it spill across your pillow. Let it pool in the quiet space where sleep begins. Somewhere in your chest, you still feel the pull, like a tug on an invisible rope, tightening ever so slightly every time your mind drifts toward them. A name, a moment, that look they gave you that afternoon, that thing they said that never really made sense, and it yanks again, just enough to remind you you're not quite free. But here's the question. No one ever asks if something's pulling on you. Who's holding the other end? There's a Zen parable. A young monk stood before his master frustrated. I can't stop thinking about her, he confessed. I try to meditate and the thought of her pulls me away every time. It's like I'm tied to her memory. The master nodded, then walked behind the student and quietly wrapped a rope around the monk's waist. Then he handed the other end of the rope to the monk himself. Now pull, the master said. The monk hesitated, then gave it a tug. And as expected, he felt himself being pulled by his own hand. He burst out laughing. And then, maybe for the first time, he cried. So tonight you may want to ask yourself softly, who's really holding that rope? It's not guilt. not regret, not even love. It's you, your own fingers curled around something that once made you feel whole, maybe even safe. You hold the rope because you're afraid of what happens when it goes slack, afraid of floating untethered, because at least this pain makes you feel connected to them, to your story, to something that mattered, even if it no longer does. But what if letting go isn't about cutting the rope? What if it's simply loosening your grip, not to forget, not to dismiss, but to rest? Imagine a child holding a balloon too tight, worried it'll fly away. The string digs into their skin, but the moment they soften their grip, they don't lose the balloon. They just stop hurting. So try it now. In your mind, see the rope. It may be red or gold or frayed and weathered. It might stretch across years or continents, or only across your pillow. Now gently open your hand, not to drop it, just to feel what it's like, not to pull. The tension softens, the ache eases, and for the first time you realize you've been holding yourself hostage. The fan still hums. The world beyond your room is silent, and in that stillness you may notice something subtle, a tenderness, like cool water on sore skin. No one's angry, no one's wrong. It's just a rope and a hand, and the chance to loosen one so the other can rest. If you're smiling a little now, that's okay. That's your nervous system realizing it doesn't have to be on guard anymore. That's your body remembering what softness feels like. We hold the rope for all kinds of reasons: habit, hope, fear. But tonight, you give yourself permission to rest your hand. Even if only for now. Even if you pick it up again tomorrow. That's okay. But tonight, you sleep with open palms. In section 4, we'll meet a teacup that couldn't hold a single drop more because it was already full of stories, expectations, and ghosts. But for now, let the rope unravel a little more. Let the weight shift. Let sleep come like fog over a quiet field. You're getting a little sleepy now. The tension in your jaw has eased. Your shoulders feel like they've started to melt, just a bit. But then, a thought, uninvited, familiar. You sigh. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice says, "Again, you've been here before. You've done the affirmations, burned the sage, even deleted the photos, and still they bubble back up like steam from hot water." There's an old Zen story. A university professor came to visit a Zen master. He wanted to learn, to understand. He'd read books, attended talks, written papers. But when he spoke to the master, he couldn't stop talking. He explained everything he knew about the mind, about enlightenment, about love. The master simply nodded. Then silently he poured tea into the professor's cup and poured and poured until the tea spilled over the rim. "Stop!" the professor shouted. "It's full." The master smiled. Exactly, he said. You came here full. How can I give you anything if your cup is already overflowing? You've been pouring and pouring into yourself for years. Memories, regrets, replays, what they said, what you should have said, what could have been. Your cup has no room left. It's brimming with the past. So full even silence has nowhere to settle. And yet, every night you wonder, why can't peace find me? Because peace isn't more tea. It's an empty cup. Right now, you don't need more answers. You don't need another quote on Instagram. You don't need to write them a letter you'll never send. You just need to pour a little out. Make space, not to forget, but to receive. What if tonight is not about solving the knot inside you, but softening it? What if rest comes not from knowing more, but needing less? Try this. In your mind, imagine a teacup, smooth porcelain, light in your hand, steam rising from its surface. Now tilt it, just a little. Watch as some of that tea spills into the earth. No fear, no guilt, just gravity, just release. Now breathe in. Feel the space that opens up in your chest, in your belly, in your thoughts. That space is sacred. That space is where healing breathes. Sometimes we keep the cup full because we're afraid to let go of what made us feel important. The heartbreak, the passion, the drama. It gave us a story. It made us feel alive. But that story is heavy now, and you don't have to carry it into sleep. You can whisper thank you and set it down. The fan spins above you. Outside, maybe a leaf brushes the window. Maybe the world is quiet enough for you to hear your own heartbeat. Let it echo in the empty teacup of your mind. Soft, present, free. You don't have to wake up tomorrow fixed. You don't have to forget them. You just need to leave space for something else, something unknown, something gentle, something that won't fit in a full cup. In section next, we listen for a sound one that's always been there, but you've never really heard. But for now, rest in the quiet of an empty cup. Let it hold your dreams, not your memories. And sleep will come, not because you chased it, but because you made room. You've been quiet for a while now. The thought of them, still there, but softer, less sharp, like a photograph left too long in the sun. And in that space, something else begins to emerge. Not a voice, not a memory, but something more ancient, a sound. There's a story about a Zen monk who had been haunted for years. No matter how much he meditated, no matter how still he sat, his mind always returned to one person. One afternoon, frustrated, he asked his teacher, "Master, how do I silence these thoughts of her?" The master didn't answer. He just pointed to the trees swaying outside the temple. "What do you hear?" the master asked. The monk closed his eyes. "I hear the wind." "No," the master said gently. "You hear your mind describing wind. Listen again." So the monk tried. He really tried. And after some time, he began to hear something else, not the wind, but the space between the rustling, the silence within the breeze, the sound that wasn't a sound at all. The master smiled. When the thoughts fall away, you don't hear nothing. You hear what's left. So tonight, listen. Not to me, not to the hum of the story, not even to your breath, but to what's behind it all. The room is full of quiet. There's the ceiling fan. There's the occasional creak of your bed. Maybe a car in the distance. A dog barking, once, then gone. But listen deeper. Underneath all that is a hum that isn't quite sound. It's the sound of being alive. When you're no longer trying to chase the memory, when you let go of the urge to fix what can't be fixed, you start to hear what's already there. The space, the stillness, the whisper of peace that's been waiting under all the noise. There's a funny thing about the mind. It thinks it's helping you by repeating the same story. It shows you their face again and again, like a toddler with a crayon drawing going, "Look what I made." And you pat it on the head and say, "Thank you, sweetie. But let's put that on the fridge and move on." Then you listen. Because when the mind finally grows quiet, you hear the soul. And the soul doesn't shout. It whispers. It's always whispering. Let's try something. Let your body soften again. Notice your shoulders. Notice your jaw. Notice how your tongue rests against the roof of your mouth. Now, take a slow breath in and let it fall out like a sigh. And now don't listen for anything. Just receive. Let the sounds come to you. Let the silence wash over you. No expectations, no goals. Just space. The thought of them may return. It probably will. But now you know beneath every wave of memory, there's an ocean of quiet waiting. And in that quiet, you're not alone. You're just home. In section 6, we'll follow the story of a leaf one that clings desperately to a branch long after the season has passed. But for now, let the wind pass through you. Let it rustle the pages of your mind, then leave them still. Sleep is near, and so is peace. There's a tree outside your window. You may not have noticed it before, but tonight, your mind paints it for you. Strong trunk, branches like quiet arms, and up near the top, a single trembling leaf, brown-edged, still holding on. Even as the wind whispers, even as the others have let go, it clings, and you know exactly how it feels. There's a parable told in a quiet village temple. A young monk was sweeping the temple garden in autumn. Leaves crunched underfoot. The wind danced with color. But one tree, an old ginkgo near the gate, still held a single leaf. Every day, the monk passed it, and every day it remained. One morning, as frost kissed the stone steps, he stood before the tree and asked out loud, "Why do you still hold on to his surprise?" The leaf answered. In a voice as soft as breath, it said, "I'm not afraid of falling. I'm afraid of what I'll become once I do. Sometimes we don't let go because we're scared, not of pain, not of sadness, but of who we'll be without the story. You've held this memory, this person so tightly for so long that the idea of releasing it feels like losing a part of yourself, like a leaf thinking its life ends when it drops. But it doesn't. It just becomes something new. Even the wind doesn't rush the leaf. It waits. It brushes gently. It reminds the leaf, whenever you're ready, I'll carry you. So let's not force anything tonight. Let the thought remain if it wants. Let the feeling stay. But loosen the story around it. Let it breathe. You don't need to be ready to let go. You just need to be ready to rest. That image of the leaf, you can carry it with you, not as something to fix, but as something to understand. It clings not because it's broken, but because it once knew sunlight. So did you. So did that love, that ache, that chapter. And the fact that it mattered doesn't mean it needs to last forever. Let's pause again. Let your body soften like moss. Let your hands rest open and light. Let your breath come and go like wind through branches. You are the tree, you are the sky, and the thought just one last leaf. Still unsure. You don't need to shake it loose. It will fall when the season is ready. And you're already entering a new one. Funny, isn't it? We think letting go is an action, but sometimes it's just the absence of holding. And in that stillness, you sleep. In section 7, we'll wander after clouds because sometimes chasing emotions is like chasing vapor. But for now, watch the leaf sway one last time. Thank it for staying and let the wind do what it always does. Carry you gently into the quiet. You've probably done it before. Stared up at the sky on a warm afternoon. Watched clouds drift and swirl and split apart. One moment it's a lion, then it's a fish, then poof, it's nothing. Gone without apology. You didn't chase it. You didn't scream, come back. You just watched. But funny, isn't it? We don't treat our thoughts the same way, especially the ones about them. There's a teaching in Zen: thoughts are like clouds. Let them come, let them go. The sky is not harmed. But you've been sprinting after those clouds, grabbing at them, naming them, turning them into stories, turning them into truth. You told yourself this cloud means something. This one is special. This one looks like love. And so you chased it across the sky of your mind for days, for months, for years. One monk once said to a student, "You've built a palace out of fog." The student blinked. "Is that bad?" "No," said the monk, "but now you can't stop trying to live in it." We chase emotions like they're permanent. Like if we could just catch that one feeling again, that high, that kiss, that warmth, we'd be okay. But emotions don't work that way. They're weather, they pass. Even the good ones, especially the good ones. You remember how they laughed? You remember how they looked at you like no one else ever had? And maybe it was real. Maybe it did matter. But even clouds that look solid are made of water vapor, and love that clings too hard to memory can turn into mist. Right now, you're lying under a vast sky. Not a real one, but the sky of awareness behind your closed eyes. Thoughts pass, faces pass, the ache passes. If you don't run after them, they drift on. You are not the cloud, you are the sky. Take a deep breath, and now let it go. Feel it leave your body like a breeze. Another breath in, another cloud forms, another breath out, gone. You're not broken for feeling. You're not weak for remembering. But you don't need to chase what moves by nature. Let the clouds have their journey. Let them go where they need. You stay grounded, rooted, still. Sometimes we think peace is on the other side of resolution. But maybe peace is just not running anymore. Maybe peace is standing still and watching the whole sky unfold without trying to hold any of it. And if that memory comes again tonight, that image of them in the doorway, that message you never answered, that smile that lingered too long, just say, "There you are again, little cloud. I see you. Pass as you wish," and go back to your breath. In section 8, we'll meet a master who chose silence instead of answers because sometimes the deepest truths make no sound at all. But for now, rest beneath the open sky of your awareness. Let it be wide. Let it be empty. Let it be enough. You've been following every word, every breath, every slow turn of this story. But right now, let's just be quiet. Just for a moment. Let the stillness wrap around you like warm blankets pulled to your chin. Let it hold what words can't. And now imagine this, a stone temple. Evening light. A single monk sits before his master, desperate. "Why can't I forget them?" he asks. But the master says, "Nothing, not even a breath, just silence." The monk waits. Minutes pass. The wind moves through bamboo. A bell rings far away. Still, no answer. "Please," the monk says again, softer this time. "I've prayed, I've fasted, I've meditated, I've cried, why won't it leave me?" The master looks at him, eyes full of kindness, but still, no reply. Just presence, that silence. It's not emptiness. It's everything that doesn't need to be said. Because the master knows no amount of talking will untie a knot made of thought. Words created this attachment. Words fueled the story. Words built the expectation. So maybe silence is the only thing gentle enough to dissolve it. Right now, your mind might be asking, "But what if I had done something different? But what if they still think of me? But what if I never stop feeling this way?" And every what if adds another layer of noise, another layer of ache. But underneath all of that, beneath the questions, beneath the wondering, is a stillness. That's what the master was offering. Not an answer, but a place to rest. Let's pause again. Notice the silence between my words. That quiet isn't just blank space, it's your space. It's where your thoughts stretch out and lose their tension. It's where your heart stops bracing for impact. Let that silence be your teacher tonight. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to understand why it ended. You don't have to know what they're doing now. You can just be. And that is enough. Funny, isn't it? How we crave answers. But when someone truly listens to us, we stop needing them. Because sometimes being heard without reply is what we needed all along. Just someone to witness our ache without trying to cure it. So tonight, let the silence do what explanations can't. Let it hold the weight. Let it soften the edges. Let it say, you don't have to carry this anymore. Not out loud, not with sound, just with stillness. If the thought of them comes again, and it might, don't ask why. Don't try to interpret it. Just meet it with a breath and silence and sleep. In section 9, we'll step into an image, a flickering candle in the wind, and see how letting go might not mean losing light at all. But for now, let this be your practice. A question met with quiet, a longing met with presence, a memory met with stillness. There's a candle, small, flickering. Its flame dances just above the wax, steady one moment, shivering the next. And around it, a wind begins to rise. Not a storm, just a breeze, a quiet reminder that nothing stays still forever. You cup your hands around it, instinctively, desperately, tenderly, because you don't want to lose it. Not this light, not again. We do this, don't we? We hold on so tightly to a memory, to a name, to someone's smile in the rain because it once warmed us. And now we are afraid of the dark. But the tighter we try to trap that warmth, the more the flame begins to sputter. Not because we don't care, but because our fear suffocates it. There's a story from the mountain temples of Japan. A student had spent weeks in silence trying to forget someone he had loved. He lit a candle in the meditation hall each night before sleep. And each night, when the wind blew in through the screen door, he would leap up to shield the flame. One evening, the master saw this, and instead of scolding him, he sat beside him, lit another candle, and opened the door wider. The wind came in. Both flames danced wildly, but neither went out. See, the master said, it was never about protecting the flame, but trusting that it could move with the air. Tonight, your thoughts might flicker. The memory of them may lean dangerously in the breeze of sleep, and your first instinct will be to hold, to brace, to relight the story in your mind. But what if you didn't need to? What if you let it dance a little, move a little? What if that flame, your tenderness, your ache, your love was stronger than you think? Try this. Close your eyes if they're not already. Picture that candle, the one you've been guarding all this time. Notice your hands around it, tense, protective, afraid. Now slowly open your palms. Let the air in. Let the flame respond. Watch it flicker, sway, then steady, still burning, still alive. Not because you controlled it, but because you allowed it to breathe. You see, grief doesn't mean the love is gone, and letting go doesn't mean the light goes out. It just means you're learning to hold it differently, not in your hands, but in your heart. You've tried so hard to hold on to something beautiful. That's noble. That's human. But beauty doesn't need to be clutched. It just needs to be seen, even as it moves, even as it changes, even as it fades. So tonight, if their name drifts back in like a breeze, don't panic. Don't trap it. Let it pass. Let it swirl. And know that your own flame is safe, even in the wind, especially in the wind. In section 10, we'll step into a dream, the kind you don't know you're dreaming, and ask, what if this whole chase was only a fog? But for now, let the candle glow quietly beside you, not as a symbol of what was, but as a light, guiding you into sleep. What if this is still a dream, not the candle, not the leaf, not the rope, but all of it? What if the memories you've been clutching are made of the same thing as dreams thin, fleeting, real only when you believe they are? There's a quiet teaching in Zen. A student asked the master, "How do I know if I'm awake?" The master replied, "When you stop asking." The student furrowed his brow. "But how can I stop asking if I don't know?" The master smiled. "You will when you wake up." Sometimes we walk through life half asleep, eyes open, heart heavy, mind racing. But we're not really here. We're replaying scenes. We're having imaginary conversations with people who aren't in the room. We're rewriting what we wish we had said or heard. And the strangest thing, it feels real as the pillow under your head, as real as their voice in your mind. But maybe it's not. Think about your dreams. While you're in them, they make perfect sense. You're flying through a city of marshmallows. You're having coffee with someone who left 10 years ago. You're shouting into the wind, and the wind shouts back. And none of it feels strange until you wake up. Then suddenly you laugh, you blink, you say, "That was weird," and move on. So what if the thoughts you're holding now about them, about what could have been, are just a waking dream? What if you don't need to analyze them, fix them, chase them? What if you just need to open your eyes? Right now, feel your body again. Not your thoughts, not your memories, but you. The pressure of the mattress, the softness of your blanket, the gentle rhythm of breath. This is real. This moment, this stillness, this exact now. Everything else, the longing, the ache, the constant loops, just echoes of a dream you don't have to keep dreaming. Let's try something. Imagine yourself sitting beside a calm pond. You toss a pebble, a thought, a face, a moment into the water. Ripples, then stillness. Again and again. Each time less dramatic, less urgent, until the water doesn't react. Until you realize it was never the pebble that mattered. It was the silence that came after. You don't need to wake up all at once. Just notice. Notice when your mind grabs the script again. Notice when your heart repeats the dream. Notice when your thoughts wander back to a place you've already visited 1,000 times. And then gently return to now, to this breath, to this rest, to this peace. And if they come back into your mind, let them. Don't chase, don't explain. Just whisper, "Oh, I see. Another dream." Let it pass, and it will. Like morning mist. Like a thought that never quite belonged. In section 11, we'll meet a king searching for a message that could calm his heart in both joy and sorrow, and discover what it means to say, "This too shall pass." But for now, you're here, not asleep, not lost, just breathing, just being, and maybe, just maybe, you've already begun to wake up. There's a rhythm to all things. Breath in, breath out, tide in, tide out, love, loss, joy, grief. Nothing stays. And that is a blessing, even if it doesn't always feel like one. There's an old story told by monks in the hills of Bhutan. A mighty king, loved by his people, feared by his enemies, grew weary of the wild swings of life. When he was joyful, he feared losing it. When he was in sorrow, he believed it would never end. So he called his wisest sages and said, "Give me something. Just a phrase, one that is always true. When I read it in times of triumph, it will humble me. When I read it in times of despair, it will lift me." The sages returned with a simple message etched into a ring. "This too shall pass." The king wore it until the day he died. And he never again mistook a moment for eternity. So now, lying here in the hush of your room, maybe you whisper it too, not with a sigh, but with a quiet smile. This too shall pass. The memory of them, the heaviness in your chest, even the ache that feels permanent. It won't last. Nothing does. That doesn't mean it didn't matter. It doesn't erase what you felt, but it sets you free from believing you'll feel this way forever. And that's a freedom worth reaching for. Try this. Close your eyes if they're not already, and imagine a long hallway. At one end, the best moment you ever shared with them. At the other, the hardest. Now picture yourself walking calmly down the hall. You pass the joy. You pass the pain. They're just rooms. You nod as you pass. You don't stop. You don't stay. You walk on. Because you are not any one moment. You are the one who keeps walking. There's a line from an old sutra, "The cherry blossom falls when it must." Not because it is weak, but because its season has passed. The love you remember, it had a season. And now, so does your healing. Let's pause again. Let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders sink. Let your breath deepen. And as you exhale, think gently. This thought is passing. This feeling is passing. This night will pass. But while it's here, you can rest within it. Like lying beneath rain knowing it can't last forever. And oddly, that makes the sound sweeter. If they come to mind again tonight, the way they stood at your door, the way they looked away that last time, let it rise. Let it fall. Like a wave that kisses the shore then returns to sea. This too shall pass. And you remain. Softer, quieter, still here. In section 12, we'll listen not to the noise of life, but to the space between moments where peace is always waiting. But for now, let that phrase settle deep into your chest, like a lullaby written by time itself. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And with it, sleep. Have you ever noticed what's between a breath in and a breath out? Just a pause. Not long, not loud, not even obvious, but it's there. A gap. A moment suspended in stillness. It's the same space between thoughts, between memories, between the waves that try to sweep you away. And in that space you are free. There's a story about a monk who asked his teacher, "Where is peace?" The master picked up a small bell. He rang it once, then again, then a third time. The monk frowned, confused. "I don't understand." The master smiled and asked, "Where did the sound go between the rings?" It's not that your thoughts are the problem. It's not even that remembering them, that person, that past is wrong. The trouble is, we forget that we are not just our thoughts. We're also the space between them. We're not the bell. We're the quiet in between. Try something with me. Imagine your thoughts as raindrops falling on a pond. Plink, plink, plink. Now notice what happens between the drops, that still surface, that gentle, widening ripple, the silence holding it all. You are that silence. You are that space. Right now, your mind might be quieter than usual, but maybe it's not silence you're feeling. Maybe it's absence. Absence of resistance. Absence of effort. Absence of clinging. It's not emptiness. It's clarity. The kind of clarity that doesn't need to know, only to be. When you think of them, that one person whose shadow still leans against your heart, pause. Not to judge, not to analyze, just to notice the space after the thought, the breath after the memory, the stillness after the ache. That's where peace lives, not in the thought, but in the after. Let's pause again. Breathe in, softly. Now wait, just for a heartbeat. Then breathe out, and notice that tiny, quiet moment in between. That's it. That's where the noise can't follow. That's where the pain can't echo. That's you, unmoved, whole, still. A leaf doesn't fall forever. A wave doesn't crash forever. A thought doesn't stay forever. But the space holding them always there. Like the sky holding every cloud. Like the silence holding every story. Like the stillness holding you. In section 13, we'll meet a door you've been trying to open for so long, only to realize it was never locked. But for now, rest here. In the pause, in the breath between breaths, in the gentle hum that asks nothing of you. Not even sleep, just stillness. You've been walking through this story for a while now. Each step a little softer, each breath a little deeper. And somewhere along the path you realized you were carrying something. A weight, a story, a name. You thought it made you whole. You thought without it, you'd forget who you were. But now, you're ready to set it down, even if just for tonight. There's an old Zen parable. A student sat alone in a dark room. He believed he'd been locked in, abandoned by his teacher, to confront his mind. He tried everything: meditation, chanting, even banging on the walls, begging for answers. "Why am I stuck here?" he cried. "Why can't I move forward?" Then silence for hours, then days, until finally in exhaustion he leaned against the door, and it swung open, not with force, not with a click, but with ease. It had never been locked. He had never been trapped. He had just never tried to leave gently. Maybe you've done the same. Tried so hard to escape the thoughts of them. The ache, the unfinished endings, the what-ifs stacked like furniture against your own freedom. But the harder you pushed, the heavier it felt. And tonight, just tonight, you tried something different. You stopped pushing. You leaned softly, and the door opened. It might feel strange at first to be free of something you thought defined you, to no longer carry the narrative like a badge or a burden. But freedom isn't loud. It doesn't come with trumpets or neon signs. It comes like this: a breath that doesn't hurt, a thought that doesn't spiral, a silence that doesn't scare you. Picture it now. You standing in the doorway, behind you, the room of memory. Not bad, not wrong, just done. Ahead, open air, night sky, peace. You don't have to rush through. You can stand at the threshold, breathe, smile, even wave goodbye if you want. No drama, no announcement, just permission. Let's pause again. Feel the difference in your body, the way your chest lifts without effort, the way your hands have nothing left to grip. This is not emptiness. This is spaciousness. This is you without the weight. The door was never locked. Your mind just whispered that it was, because it didn't know what was on the other side. But now you do. It's not forgetting. It's not losing. It's quiet. And it's yours. In section 14, we'll explore gratitude not as an obligation but as a soft bow to what once was and what no longer needs to be. But for now, Rest on the threshold. Feel the cool air on your skin and know you were never trapped, just waiting to see the handle. You've walked far, through memories, through silence, through open doors and quiet skies. And now, you're almost ready to let go. But not with force, not with bitterness, not with a dramatic farewell set to sad piano music. No, with gratitude. There's a story told in the countryside temples. A monk was asked, "Master, how do I stop hating the one who hurt me?" The master didn't speak. He simply picked a single persimmon from a nearby tree and placed it in the student's hands. "Eat," he said. The student did. It was sweet, soft, surprising. The master smiled. Even the fruit that falls from a broken branch can taste like kindness. You see, what you shared with them, the person you can't seem to forget, wasn't all pain. There was laughter. There was beauty. There were moments that lifted you beyond yourself. And even if it ended in silence, those moments were real. They helped shape who you are now. Gratitude isn't saying "I'm glad it ended." It's saying thank you for the part that lived. It's a gentle bow, a whispered prayer, a way to close the book without needing to rip out the pages. Try it now. Close your eyes. Picture them not as they were at the end, but in a moment of light. Maybe they were laughing. Maybe they were holding your hand in a car ride. Maybe they said your name like it meant something. And now, softly, say thank you. Not out loud, not for anyone else, just in your heart. Thank you for what you gave me. Thank you for what I learned. Thank you for helping me see myself, even if just for a while. You're not thanking the pain. You're not excusing the hurt. You're simply releasing the chain with softness, so it doesn't bind you anymore, so it doesn't follow you into your dreams. Let's pause again. Feel the warmth in your chest. It may surprise you, not because you've forgotten, but because you've forgiven, not them, but yourself, for holding on so long, for loving so fully, for being human. Gratitude is the final breath before letting go. And now, you've taken it. You've given the story back to time, and it no longer needs to sit on your chest like a stone. It can become what all stories become, a memory without weight. In section 15, we'll close gently with a truth so simple it often goes unnoticed. When you stop looking, sometimes peace finds you on its own. But for now, sleep with a heart not empty, but full of quiet. Thanks. Thank you, old love. Thank you, old thought. Now rest. You're still here, still breathing, still resting, still wrapped in the quiet hum of the night. But something is different now. Not louder, not clearer, just lighter. You're not searching anymore. And that, strangely, is where peace begins. There's a story about a wandering monk who spent years searching for enlightenment. He climbed mountains, sat with sages, read every scroll he could find, but the answers never came. One morning, exhausted, he sat by a quiet stream and watched leaves drift past. And for the first time, he didn't ask anything. He just listened. The sound of water, the rustle of trees, the stillness inside his own chest. And in that stillness, he finally heard it. Not a voice, not a truth, just silence. And it was enough. All this time you've been trying to solve the ache inside you, trying to remember them less, trying to hold on more softly, trying to find the perfect thought to replace the ones you wish would go. But sometimes healing doesn't come from trying. It comes from stopping. Tonight you're not reaching, not chasing, not bracing for impact. You've loosened the grip, opened the door, said thank you, and now you can stop looking. Not because it's over, not because you've healed, but because you've finally come home to yourself. And home isn't a place, it's a breath. It's a quiet knowing that says, I am okay, even now. Let's breathe one last time together. In, softly, out, slowly. And in the space after that breath, notice there's no need to search, no need to fix, no need to solve. You're here, and that's enough. If they come to mind again someday, and they might, you'll smile. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because the pain no longer holds the map. You do, and you've chosen a gentler path. There's no big lesson, no final truth. Just this: when you stop looking, sometimes peace finds you, like a bird landing quietly on your shoulder, like moonlight brushing your face through the window. No noise, no permission, just presence. So now let your body sink, let your thoughts drift, let your breath carry you into the deep blue of sleep. And if you need to come back to this space tomorrow, you'll know the way. It's not far, it's not hidden, it's just here, waiting, like it always was. Now drift softly, and when you're ready to explore again, you may enjoy the next video in this journey. Buddhist teachings for rest and peace. Why that person can't leave your head. But for now, let the night wrap you. Let the silence hold you. Let yourself be loved even by the quiet. End of script. Sweet dreams.